let's go ahead and move on to the next story. Now, this story is something that intrigued me when I saw it on the iceberg a couple months ago. Didn't think I would ever find anything on it. And I looked, I couldn't find anything, despite all of my amazing research efforts. I mean, guys, we have to admit at this point, I am a top-notch researcher. Nothing gets past me. And I looked, probably every 2 weeks, I tried looking for this topic again. And despite my track record tracking down these great stories, I could not find this one. And then I realized I was spelling it completely wrong. So, yeah, it's the Patterson-Gimlin tape. And I was calling it the Patterson-Gimlin, or possibly Patterson-Gimli from Lord of the Rings. So, that honestly happened multiple times, and I go, damn, I can't find this story that I want to cover. And then I was on another thing reading about Bigfoot, and I was like, that's how you spell his name. And I spelled it incorrectly, and a ton of resources popped up. So today, we are going to talk about the Patterson-Gimlin Massacre. So, quick overview here. Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot tape is the tape we've all seen. It's the 20 seconds of film footage of Bigfoot, like, strolling through the woods with that unique walk, and it turns and it looks at the camera and then keeps walking. And all of really, like, the Bigfoot stickers, it's such an iconic pose where it has its arms stretched out as it's walking, that you'll see that pose on stuff everywhere. Hood River, we have a ton of Bigfoot paraphernalia, and it's funny because I don't think Bigfoot's been seen here, but it's very popular. So you'll see him like carrying a pizza, you'll see him like dribbling a basketball, and I'm saying it's actually supposedly a woman named Patty, a Bigfoot named Patty. But anyway, so the Patterson-Gimlin tape has always been considered the most authentic Bigfoot video out there. But so the Patterson-Gimlin, that's his name, right? I keep wanting to say Gimli. Patterson-Gimlin tape is that famous 30, 40-second clip. Now, we all see that and we go, oh, look at Bigfoot's actually possible. Like, there is a person that's walking not like a person and looking like a big old monkey. But maybe there's more to the story. Maybe there is more to the story. So, that Patterson-Gimlin tape, it's called Patterson-Gimlin because Roger Patterson and Robert Gimlin are the ones who made the tape. It was shot in Bluff Creek, California on October 20th, 1967. In 2008, there was a Bigfoot enthusiast named M.K. Davis. And what M.K. Davis, he made his name in the Bigfoot... M.K. Davis made his name in the Bigfoot community because he took the original footage of the Patterson-Gimlin tape and stabilized it and got a better picture so it wasn't so shaky. And so they were like, oh, this guy has really helped make the footage easier to view and brought up the quality and things like that. In 2008, he starts looking at the footage and he goes, that's a blood puddle, right off camera. And there's a flash also off camera. The flash is on camera, but there's a flash to the left side of the screen as Patty's walking away. And then he has this additional footage that he says shows it wasn't Patterson and Gimlin at Bluff Creek shooting this. There were 10 people there total. And there was a Bigfoot massacre. Bunch of big feet, a big phi, if you listen to the Parapod. A bunch of big phi were there, 3 of them actually. And what we're seeing is Patty running away from the slaughter of her 2 friends. And apparently there is a close-up of Patty. They did an enhance, like CSI, you can see a single teardrop coming from Patty's face. Now, you can look at these, they have photos of the additional footage. You see some guy standing there in some red puddles, and you see a dog. And these guys kind of look like other Bigfoot researchers. They've said, look at this guy. This guy is skinny. And here's this known Bigfoot researcher who's also quite skinny. They're both white. They might be the same. I haven't seen the actual footage. I've seen stills of the so-called off-screen footage. Apparently there were multiple cameras there. But I've seen the stills, and you do see him standing there, and there's some red puddles. And then M.K. Davis goes, look, there were similar red puddles in the Patterson-Gimlin tape. It appears that there was a massacre. Bigfoot enthusiasts are like, what are you talking about? There's so much controversy over this, because this tape has been a mainstay. I mean, people were outraged by that. They're like, no, you adjusted the color, this was just a dark patch of water, and you made it red, and so on and so forth. And there was all of this pushback on it. David Pallades, the guy from Missing 411, he got involved in it. And he was like, oh no, not publicly, but apparently in private circles with the Bigfoot community, he's like, oh no, there was a massacre there. So you're like, where? I think since we haven't seen the original footage, and M.K. Davis, who to this day contends that there was a massacre there, that 2 other Bigfoot were shot. Where did the story come from? Did M.K. Davis just sit there one day and like discover this extra reel of footage? Was he just editing it and then he hit a button and the camera slowly moved to the left and he saw this going on? People were putting their reputations on the line. David Pallades, if I'm not saying that right, but him most of all. A lot of people see him as like this big researcher into the paranormal, and now he's making this claim that a bunch of Bigfoot were killed without footage. All we have on the Patterson-Gimlin tape that shows anything like that is a Bigfoot supposedly running away and a red puddle. So where did this story come from? Why would people put their careers, well, quote-unquote careers, on the line to expose this story with so little proof? It must have been a great source, right? The original story of the Patterson-Gimlin Massacre came from a creepypasta. Here was the basic gist of the creepypasta. A couple guys start a band, they make it big in Hollywood. They meet with a producer in Hollywood, and the producer is like, yeah, guys, what's up? Yeah, let's rock, let's party, yeah. By the way, I have a secret footage of 2 Bigfoot being murdered. And the band's like, what? And so they see the video, and then they tell their friends back home, and they're like, dude, we saw like 2 Bigfeet getting shot. We saw 2 Bigfi getting shot. And apparently what the other addition is, you see 3 Bigfi, sitting at a fire, or a fire pit, and there's just a hail of bullets. Reload. I don't know if Bigfoot go, but this one did. And then Patty gets up and runs away, and then they just happen to have another camera 10 feet away, and they just recorded Patty running away. The hunters were like, immediately like, oh no, we killed 2 Bigfi. What are we going to do? We could take this as evidence that the world's most mysterious creature exists, but what if we're found guilty for murder? We better skin them right here and take out all their meat and take their bones and destroy everything so no one suspects us of murdering a creature that no one knew existed for sure until we shot 2 of them. So that's why they just, like, the bodies disappeared. And then they didn't say anything. They're like, oh my god, if anyone finds this footage of us killing these 2 animals, so let's destroy all the evidence that these creatures even existed, even though we were out here specifically to prove they existed. And that's the creepypasta. It's literally something you would see like on Reddit or creepypasta.com or whatever. It is just a story about a guy telling a story that his buddy went through. Oh, I got a call from my friend. He's in a band and he told me this crazy story. If that happened, if a bunch of people descended upon a camp of Bigfoot, yeah, you would have people that were upset, but you would have even more people be like, oh, that sucks that you shot him, but finally we have proof that these things exist. Because, and they're like, oh yeah, no, they just disposed of all the evidence, but they believe totally in Bigfoot. They're there purposely to find Bigfoot. It doesn't wash. And it's weird to me that M.K. Davis and David Pallades, David Pallades, whatever, that they would be willing to put this theory forth based on creepypasta and a couple of photos of just random people standing around a campsite with a red puddle, which again can easily be photoshopped in. It could be blood. It would be a lot of blood. And it's just like all in like where a creek would be, so it would be very easy to just change the color saturation on that photo. But Patterson-Gimlin Massacre, I think it didn't happen. I think that it's 100% a creepypasta that got out of hand. And once these people, I think David Pallades has kind of backed away from it. But again, he never really addressed it publicly, like to us. In the Bigfoot circles, From what I could see, he was talking about it. But M.K. Davis continues to put this story forth. And he's wedded to it now. He can't say, oh, no, I was wrong. You're right. It was creepypasta. I was looking at the footage wrong. Oh, and that gunshot blast that apparently comes from the Patterson-Gimlin tape, which is like the official tape. People said that wasn't in the original version. That was added. I can almost imagine this little cartoon like psh, bang coming off the side. Insane stuff. And again, creepypasta. I think somebody read this who had never read any creepypasta and thought that it was a true story and then began to prove it existed. I would hate to see what would happen if this guy ever read, like, Jeff the Killer. I mean, he would go to the town. He would go to every town where a new kid just moved in and ran into some bullies and try to figure out the truth behind Jeff the Killer. It's fake stuff, and you've ruined your reputation over it, MK. There was no massacre there. There's a big question over whether Bigfoot was actually there. But there definitely was no massacre there. But again, once I learned how to correctly spell Gimlin, it was an interesting little mystery to explore. That was a clip from our daily podcast, Dead Rabbit Radio. Dead Rabbit Radio is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime news. If you want to hear the full episode that this clip came from, check the link below. Please like and subscribe. And hit that little bell, too. That does some magical stuff. Thanks, guys.